Hey everyone, it's Joshua. Lately, I've been talking about limerence a lot, right? That intensive, obsessive kind of infatuation that feels like a fairy tale at first, but drains you emotionally. But truthfully speaking, limerence is only one piece of the pie. I think that in the grand scheme of things, we're really talking about unhealthy relationship patterns. So whether it's limerence, codependency, situationships, or trauma bonding, we're really talking about different branches of the same tree, that is. They all grow out of the soil of unresolved trauma and attachment wounds, I believe. So, in order to really talk about the issue today that we're going to discuss of trauma bonding, I'm going to first talk about generational trauma. So, this is sometimes called intergenerational trauma, which is the passing down of unhealed emotional pain, coping styles, and survival patterns from one generation to the next. So that trauma can be passed on in different ways. It can be through behavior and attachment. So this is where our parents who carry that unprocessed trauma communicating to us and how they love us, discipline us, and respond to us. It can be through the environment where maybe our family has lived through chronic poverty, racism, war. This shapes how we as children can view love, stability. And then it also can be through our genetic blueprint itself, right? So even if you didn't personally experience what your parents or grandparents went through, your nervous system might still carry traces of it. That's why many of us inherit not just our family's eye color, but their fears, anxieties, and relational blueprints too. We often say we inherit our parents' unfinished business. That's not just poetic, it's a psychological truth. When shame, grief, or trauma go unhealed, they echo through the family line until someone decides to break that pattern. So, how does generational trauma and trauma bonding connect or relate? I think it's through attachment and love. So, when a child grows up in an environment where love feels inconsistent, conditional, or unsafe, their brain learns that instability is love. Later in life, that conditioning can show up in the form of trauma bonds, limerent attachments, or relationships where chaos feels like chemistry. Generational trauma doesn't just affect how we love, it affects how we receive it, trust it, and believe we deserve it. So, what exactly is trauma bonding really? Trauma bonding happens when a person feels emotionally attached to someone who repeatedly harms or manipulates them, whether it's emotionally, physically, or psychologically. It's not as simple as loving the wrong person, it's a survival response. The same person causing the pain also becomes our source of comfort. That back and forth motion creates a powerful, confusing bond that the brain mistakes for love. From a neurological perspective, this happens because of intermittent reinforcement, cycles of harm followed by relief, apology, or affection. Each reconciliation gives the brain a hit of dopamine, oxytocin, and other chemicals associated with reward and attachment. Over time, it becomes addictive. So, when we think about trauma bonding, how does it fit into abuse? The cycle of abuse, first described by psychologist Lenore Walker, helps explain how trauma bonding forms and repeats. Tension builds up, something feels off, the abuser becomes moody or critical. The victim then feels anxious, trying to prevent the conflict. Then the incident occurs, whether it's an emotional, psychological, or physical harm, followed by the abuser apologizing, reconciling with us, which then reinforces the bond. And then things go back to normal, the calm, right? The calm before the storm. So there's no tension and we're rebuilding at this phase. But it really is a roller coaster motion, right? That creates deeper emotional dependency and that really causes havoc in our brain. Oftentimes, people in this cycle are in denial, they're isolating themselves from others that are there to help them, and then they rationalize the abuse and stress as misunderstandings. I don't think that these are signs of weakness. Oftentimes, people who are abused are criticized by others. But we have to start looking at it as, again, it being deeper. There being a lot of psychological factors that influencing it. So getting free from this pattern is not easy. You can't get out of it with logic. Other people may say, you're crazy, you're out of your mind, just get out. It's not that easy. So I think that it's important that we connect with therapy. Again, these are trauma responses. So getting in with a clinician that is trauma informed is important. We may find connection through doing mindfulness and somatic work. And then, as I always say, support groups. Support groups are good because they create community for us and connection of other people with shared experiences that can help us. I want to say that if you are in a situation like this, be aware that time is of the essence. It's important to do something. So start by getting help. It is, we're coming to the close of National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I want to encourage everyone that is watching this video to take inventory of yourself. Ask yourself, am I normalizing unhealthy patterns? Because healing begins when we stop calling dysfunction love. Oftentimes we will continue to repeat what we don't heal. If you are in a situation like that, reach out for help. Even if you feel like no one's listening, continue to advocate for yourself. Someone will listen. And remember that just because you forgive a person, it does not mean that you have to reconcile with them at the end of the day. Exes are exes for a reason. I'm going to repeat that. Exes are exes for a reason, because I've been seeing a big pattern of people going back to things that were meant to stay in the past. So I hope that this video resonates with you. And if there's someone in your life that is going through a pattern of trauma bonding, please share this with them if you would, because it's important to look deep inside and to acknowledge what the truth is so that we can be free.